If you think you cannot afford to travel the world, then think again, because in this video I'm sharing 15 of my top favorite money-saving travel hacks that I've learned over 20 years of traveling the world. The first one is hands down house sitting. It's what I'm doing right now. I'm house sitting and actually cat sitting 2 cats. And it's giving me free accommodation, and accommodation is the #1 expense when you travel the world. So by doing house and pet sitting, I have free accommodation, I have luxury homes, luxury places, I have space, I have internet, I have water, electricity, I have a big kitchen that I can cook my meals, and more about food later. But house sitting is hands down what helps me to do what I love and stay for free anywhere in the world. I've made a few videos about house sitting, where to go, how to apply, all of that. My #1 is trusted house sitters. It's the only one that I really use that is trustworthy, that I find all of my house sittings, and I can choose 1 week, 1 month, 3 months. I've been in Sydney for 3 months. I've been in Vancouver for 3 months. I'll give the most important links right below this video. And #2 is WorkAway. Now, WorkAway is something that I personally have never used, but it is very trustworthy as well. What happens is that you get food and accommodation in return for some work. It could be farm work, gardening work, helping with a house or building a house. It could be any work really. You can just look at their website. Again, I'll link to it below. I have no affiliation with any of these. And the reason I don't choose that is because I don't want to do work for somebody else. I quit my job because I don't want to have a boss. And this is not a boss, but still, I don't want to do work for somebody else. I want to do my own work. I want to do my coaching. I want to do my stuff online. I want to make videos on YouTube for you. And so I want my own space and time. So if you don't like to be on your own in a house with some pets, then being with other people, WorkAway is an amazing solution. The third one is Airbnbs instead of hotels. I'm staying a little bit in the accommodation. I'll move more to food and transport in a moment, but Airbnbs are really a solution for me because I don't always have exact house sittings back to back. A lot of times I do, but sometimes you need a little period in between, and that's where I go and rent an Airbnb and not a hotel. Why? Because a hotel, I find I'm limited to a room. And these are my personal experiences and my personal money-saving travel hacks, but of course the choice is always yours. I'm just giving you what works for me. So a hotel, I don't like it because it's one room. If you want food, you need to go to a restaurant or the hotel bar, and I like having a kitchen to cook my own food. I like to buy my own stuff. I like to grab the fridge and open it up and grab a drink. Airbnbs, on the other hand, you have space again. The #4 is also hostels. Now, hostels is definitely way cheaper. I personally don't like to share a room. I'm a light sleeper. I don't want to wake up when somebody's snoring. I don't like to share stuff. I guess I'm at an age where it's just not me, okay? So I don't go for hostels, but it's definitely a cheap money-saving travel hack. #5 is choosing your destination. And I've had to learn this as well, how this would save me money. But I've been to cities, expensive cities like Geneva in Switzerland, or like Lisbon in Portugal, or like Paris in France. When you go to these very touristical cities, you pay so much more, not just the accommodation, but the food, the cost of living. So I was in Switzerland doing a house sit once in a big city, and I compared the price because a month later I was in Basel, also in Switzerland, but closer to the border of Germany. And so the same tomato, the same cucumber, the same apple was 3 times more expensive than in the same country, but then outside of the city. So I like beaches, I like the ocean. Do you choose a very touristical location, you will end up spending much more. And it's not just the food, but also do you need transportation? Do you need the cost of accommodation, transportation, and food? Those 3 things, most important, you will find a difference picking your destination. #6 is transportation within your destination. So public transport is definitely way cheaper than choosing a taxi or an Uber. I know sometimes it's really easy, and I'm not much of a public transport person, but still, it makes a huge difference. If I take the train from Lagos to Faro Airport, which is in the south of Portugal, it's €6.50. If I take a taxi, it's €95. Huge difference. When it comes to transportation, I like to bike and I like to walk. So I will definitely choose walking and biking. Having said that, brings me to #7, where I buy a bike. If I stay in a destination for at least 1 month, it's worth buying a bike. I've looked up the prices, and in Europe mostly, you pay 35 to 40 euros per day for renting a bike. It's crazy. But if I buy a bike, and I've done this all around the world, by the way, I use Facebook Marketplace or eBay, or what else did I use? Gumtree in Australia. And then when I leave, I sell it again. And usually, well, I love negotiating, but usually I sell it with a profit. So I not only gain money, I save so much money on transport. Number 8, cheap flights. Flights, you have to get to your destination. How do I do it? I go to skyscanner.com, I search for flights, I pick flexible dates, sometimes a round trip, sometimes a one-way. You just compare. You open up an incognito browser and you start, so it doesn't save all the cookies and it doesn't make it more expensive the second time you look and you search. Cheap flights means outside of the season. I know it's logical, but still, go and compare flights. So I start with Skyscanner, I then pick the airline's website and I book directly on the airline's website. That's what I do. Number 9, phone and Wi-Fi. A lot of people tell me like, oh, you have to buy a data card or a SIM card or an extra or find extra data. I do none of that. I want to save money, right, when I travel. And so what I do is when I'm within Europe, I am on my parents' plan. They have a phone plan. I pay them 10 euros a month. I add my phone number to their plan. And basically it gives me 120 gigabyte of data, which is huge. So having that, plus the fact that I will always make sure there is Wi-Fi. When I do house and pet sitting, the first question hands down is, do you have a good Wi-Fi? Do you have good internet? I've been in places, I've learned my lessons so remotely, especially in France, with up in the hills in the mountains and no Wi-Fi, nothing, even, very hard to have a decent network or a connection at all. When I go outside of Europe, still, I will look for places with Wi-Fi. I will do house sits, ask them for Wi-Fi. I will make sure I'm in cities with decent public places, libraries, cafes that have Wi-Fi. I'm never in the middle of nowhere. Having said that, there is one thing, and that is when you're lost, I don't want to get lost, when you're out and about in the streets. And I remember these moments, like in Australia or in Canada, and I needed to find my way. I have discovered this app, which is called OSMAND. I'll link to it below. And there you just download the map of the country and the area that you're in, and you can just navigate for free. So no matter where you are, you can literally have this navigation and you don't need Wi-Fi or internet at all to use it. I love it. By the way, if you like this so far, please hit the like button. We're moving on to number 11, and that is do as the locals do. I don't do touristical things because typical touristical things, visiting places, events, they cost a lot of money. I go where the locals go. I don't go to the typical touristical restaurants in the typical touristical plazas. I ask locals. I'll try and make conversations in any language or with gestures. Hey, where do you go out? Where do you go? What is there to do? Next, food. Food is, of course, a very big expense. We need to eat and drink. And that is where I save a lot of money. I go to the grocery store, I buy my own food. I don't buy takeaway, I take my food with. It's just a habit. Buying a soda in the supermarket and not outside on a stand, not buying every little bit of lunch and dinner, but just taking your own food with you. Prepare it at home, wherever you are, and then take it with you. Next, hang out with the cheap friends or the rich friends. It makes a huge difference. And I've done both of them. If I hang out with people that are richer, that have a lot of money, that maybe are retired and that can spend money, they will go out and they will enjoy things like, oh, come on over, let's have dinner together. Ding, ding, it's expensive. Oh, let's go out and let's go to the movies. Ding, ding, it's expensive. Oh, let's go out, let's go to this event or concert. It's expensive. If I hang out and meet more people that are cheaper, that are spending less, that are, for example, students who have to watch their money, they will always have these creative ideas of let's go out and do a picnic. Let's all bring something and hang out. Let's not buy anything and just hang out together. Let's not spend money. It makes a huge difference. So who do you hang with? Just watch out for it and be aware of that. Be a minimalist. That's another thing. I love, love, love my life as a minimalist, and I've learned that I used to have a lot of stuff, and I used to have my home, and I sold everything, and now I've learned with the travels that I can live from a suitcase. I don't need a lot of stuff. I wear the same things all the time. I don't care. I just wash it and wear it again. I don't need a whole room of clothes and shoes. I need my phone, my laptop, some cables, my microphone, but I don't need a lot of stuff. And that being minimalistic is such a money-saving hack. I just do my thing and I live my life and I create a routine, and it's definitely saving me a lot of money. And I am happier now than spending more money. Have a side hustle. So what I do is I make money while I travel. I coach people, I coach speakers, I coach people who want to leave their job and monetize their skills. I make content for YouTube, just like these. I freelance. I have a lot of income streams while I'm traveling. So not only am I living cheaply, traveling cheaply, but I'm also making thousands of money per month. If you want to know how to travel and make money, then make sure you watch this next video, and I'll see you there. Happy travels!